Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Hunt. This week, Outcognito mode. Now with 100% greater chance of giving an ogre a high five when he doesn't get a stateside. Tonight on the show, Mike Gonzalez, Drew Carey lied, Cleveland sucks, Dave Packard, who has a 5-day weekend, Sam Alexander, who's hot and not the good kind. I think that's and not in the good Las Vegas way. And letting the intrusive thoughts win at the Cabela's Fish Tank, I'm Vince H. Tonight on the show, we have a fishing trip and afterthoughts from GunCon.
You want to drown the employees in the fish tank too?
Well, when they come over and say, "That's a bass," but I was
speaking more along the lines
rainbow
of
trout,
right?
Jumping in and grabbing them, and or netting them, or throwing a lure in there and wandering away.
I don't have those intrusive thoughts because the last time I did, the fish won. They're my thoughts. The fish still won.
I think that was a bear.
I'm not Timothy Chalamet.
Mike chooses bear.
That was the elusive fish bear.
Man, I hate fish bear pig.
Fish bear pig?
Fish bear squid.
Oh, gross. It's getting worse.
It's got the head of a bear on. Yeah.
The head of a bear on the body of a fish with the tentacles of a squid.
Man,
that's what we do.
It's like a Colorado cryptid.
Cryptid?
Colorado cryptid in Cleveland.
Cryptotid.
Or like even better, a squid head.
So that's what we ought to do.
Wait, no.
We're going to have a whole new segment that is just us inventing new cryptids and trying to convince the world that they are real.
Squid head, bear body, fish tail.
That's its full name.
Yes. That's the scientific definition. Thank you. Bye, Vince.
Bye, Dave. Oh, bye, Vince. I thought it was Dave from about to say, bye, Dave.
It's not me this time.
I'm used to every time that goes down from 4 of us to 3 of us on screen that it's Dave.
Right. Hi, Vince. Welcome back.
Vince.
Sorry, I was trying to get rid of my lag.
Oh.
Not
I
bad.
don't think it worked.
My kids are crying again upstairs.
Oh, no.
It's horrible.
You should.
I came home from all of the horrible Ohio heat and mugginess to Colorado heat, but lacking mugginess. But my AC is still broken, so we're still working on that.
It was very nice. Like getting off the plane, I was like, oh, but at the same time, my sinuses dried out instantly.
I was on the plane, oddly enough, with listener Mac, also known as Agent Entropy to other people out there in the world. Yeah, no shit. Huh. So I'm skipping right to the end of GunCon, and we're going to work our way backwards. Get to the airport, doing a freaking circle around and around the terminal or the concourse, C concourse in Cleveland. See an individual of a particular with a particular haircut. And I sent that picture to a group of people who had gone to GunCon. And then Nick from We Like Shooting sends a picture of the same guy back to me. I'm thinking, wait, he's in here somewhere. And I found him at the little taco bar 15 minutes before my plane left. They were talking back and forth. And, oh, that's fun. Oh, he rode to the airport with Mac. And, oh, that's cool. Yep. Oh, shit, my plane's about to board. I'm getting out of here. See you, dude. See you. So then I go turn around to get on my plane, and who's standing there but Mac? Like, nice. Oh, dude. Yeah, except for he was way more in the front of the airplane, and I was all the way in the back.
Oh, I thought you were seat buddies.
That would have been cool. That would have been better than who I was sat next to, which was a couple of Midwestern boys who both had moved to Colorado at some point and were locked in conversation for much of the flight, basically self-affirming each other about how great of now, like, expert Coloradans they were.
Oh, wow.
Talking about like their freaking allergies or ski slopes. I'm just like, I want to.
I'm full Colorado now, bro.
Yeah. Oh, I've been here 7 years.
Puffing on his vape with his flat bill hat, getting out of the Subaru.
They talked about real estate
and your vape nonsense.
Like,
listen, you don't have a flat-billed hat, and you didn't get out of a Subaru. You're only one of 3 gays.
Oh, they were a new type of gay. That's all I'm going to say.
That's.
I don't think that's a show title, but I'm writing it.
I was like, I did not know this kind of homosexuality existed, but now I do.
It's kind of
learn new things every day.
Learn shit every day.
And then they tried to delay the plane coming from Cleveland back to Denver by like 3 hours or some shit. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It's like rolled us back up to the gate and they're about to let us off. And they're like, wait a minute. Nope, we got a window. We can leave. So now we're leaving. It's like, what? Make up your minds.
So I wasn't going to complain about it because you and Sean went through way worse than I had to deal with. My plane leaving Phoenix was 45 minutes late.
They send you to Phoenix?
Yeah.
So they're on the way out? On the way out?
Way. Dude, Southwest. What do you want from? They sent me to Baltimore on the way there.
Let's say they send him to freaking Baltimore, Cleveland.
I thought you guys were be on like the same flight.
So no, I went Southwest. They went United. My Southwest flights. My 3 options for the time frame I wanted to get in at the same time they did, which was 11 o'clock, which was very handy. Except
which
for
didn't
Dooley's
work out
plane
at
was delayed,
all.
but it worked out slightly. We shared the Uber. I owe you money. Anyway, we shared the Uber.
Sharif? What was his name?
Yeah, Sharif.
Yeah, there you go. It is blue Prius.
Sharif, and it was. Have you ever seen Jeff Dunham's? Is it Escape from Insanity when he introduces Ahmed for the first time, and he's talking about his blue Prius in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, the dead terrorist.
That's why I kept saying it's blue Prius. it was that blue Prius. Anyway.
Well, he wasn't a terrorist, as far as I can tell.
No, he wasn't.
But he did have
a
very strong disregard for stop signs and stoplights.
Bye, Vince.
To be fair, it was midnight.
To be fair, I don't think they, exist where he used to live, but that's fine. We got there faster.
The trick was it was only for like 3 miles.
I told him Polly. I was like, this isn't South Korea. Stop it. Anyway, we ended up getting to the Airbnb, and then
which we shared with. I can't even copy that.
We shared with Nick Dooley.
That was the 15 podcast.
Nick Dooley.
Hey everybody, I'm Nick Dooley.
You sound like my daughter.
Gross.
With the
anyway,
AR-15 podcast.
Take that sticker off your hat.
Oh shit.
Oh, dude, talking shit about flat bills and look at you being a fuck.
How long have you been wearing that?
Like 10 minutes. How long have you been recording? Yeah, 10 minutes.
I was wondering if you were wandering around with it all day.
I wandered around GunCon with it for about an hour, and then it started to hurt my head because it's new.
So I discovered those hats, those Gideon hats, they hurt the crap out of my big ass head. Mm-hmm. So you got to bend the brim down in the middle like so, and then come out to the edges and flare them. And then you get a nice middle ground where it doesn't pinch your head.
So I like the nice round curve like that. You got the big head, so you need the pinchy curve, but I got that round one. Oh, that fits way better.
It's fucking 2003 again, and we're all doing our fucking hats like that.
So
as bent as we can get them.
That is either 1, the Kentucky, or 2, the mailbox style bill, because there's some farmers that are just looking in their mailbox for a check. But with a combination of flat bill where you flatten it back out at the back. I like it.
So then you do the Muldoon where you get it all mailboxed in the front and then you bring it back out and then you just wrap the other side up on one side. And it looks.
You sound like the worst gynecologist in the world.
That's unfortunate.
You sound like you're shouting in my ear.
Your microphone works fantastic now.
Oh my goodness!
No, it's working great. It's working like it's supposed to.
Change nothing.
It's just too high. Also, Mike, with your man bun, I'm surprised your cat bill isn't flipped up in the front.
It was a ponytail. Thank you.
No, it was not.
It may have been. It may have been man bunny
on itself.
It was tucked into my hat. I didn't realize that. That's
It was
gross.
tucked into your hat.
I didn't realize it because I pulled it out. Anyway,
I don't know if you know this, but like 4.5 minutes away from you is a Supercuts.
I don't know
They
if
have
you know
these
this.
things called
Don't care.
clippers.
I own a pair.
So we were
a pair of dog clippers, and we can fix that shit.
We were with Rusty and Mrs. Rusty. I'm not gonna, but Mrs. Rusty was like, dude, I would, if you were my boy, you would have gotten your head clipped immediately. And I was like, good thing I'm not your boy.
Dude, she was basically all of our mom on this trip.
She was. It was wonderful.
You didn't end up bald. Anyway, so yeah, we all went. People who are FRN related all kind of mostly touched base back and forth, but
mostly.
Yeah, we saw Mike from the Reloading podcast. We saw we hung out with Rusty. We
saw Clovertac wandering around like a fucking weirdo.
Dude, Clovertac. Nice dude. Just
every time I saw him, he looked like he was lost or something. Anyway, so day one of CunCon, if you are a fancy creator, like we apparently are.
No, we're creators. We're not fancy at all.
Fuck you. Is a nice, absolutely sweat-inducing clay course at a, what do you call a range?
It was a skeet range. They had
range?
Yeah, it's literally a professional skeet range. That
they broke us up. I'm going to make it shorter here. They broke us up in groups of 4, which was fine. We got stuck with Tom Patton.
Is
Tom Patton.
Sam frozen?
No.
Screen grab that. Grab that.
You're the only one seeing it. It's your delay, not me.
Oh.
Nobody.
Mike was still moving. Shit.
Anyway. Oh, damn it, Dave. You're missing the good part. I called him Tom Patton for a moment, and then I tried to say Jim Patton, and I couldn't remember the damn name. It's John Patton. And then a guy named...
We had him on our show.
A guy named Tim. Oh, yeah, I don't remember anybody's names. A guy from Tim from Kinetic Development Group.
He organized GunCon.
Kinetic Development Group, right?
Yes, it was from Kinetic.
Hey, all I know is it was one of the company names where you take the word salad of kinetic, dynamic, development, outcomes, observations,
to lobster word salad,
research,
forward observation, research development,
something, and then you throw them all up in the air, and then you chop out 3 words to make your company name. We were them, and then we went driving around on these freaking off-road golf courses, shooting a clay course, and it was hotter than balls.
It was. He's exaggerating. It wasn't really that bad. We had most of the courses. It was about 85 degrees, and the humidity was pretty high.
It was hotter than that.
But we had.
Did you get them corn sweats going on?
There wasn't no corn out there.
On this trip, I have now sweat from places I didn't know I had pores.
Again, these guys are all bitching about the hot, and I'm like,
I'm sorry, Uncle Sam forced you to go to a miserable place so that you could bomb children.
I'm not, because now I have perspective that Ohio is hot, but it's not that hot.
Mike, I'm not.
I'm not. I went to Kadena immediately afterwards, and everybody on the line was bitching about the heat on Kadena, and I'm like, this is fine. This is like air conditioned compared to UAE. But anyway, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous skeet range. They were a professional skeet range. It looked like they did some hunting.
Oh, good. Dave's back.
Other types of hunting.
Wait. You're. I don't give a fuck about this range. Fuck those.
I'm trying to describe it for the audio listeners. I'm trying to give them a visual other than, we got on this off-road golf cart.
I'm about to give the best description ever. I just needed Dave here for it.
Okay. Yes.
He ran off on me, so I was killing time.
We started super quick, and I didn't have time to piss. So
Perfect, because that ties right in. So we're getting ready to leave on our fucking off-road golf carts, right? We've got our fucking rental shotgun, the comb of which was just a fucking tad too high, which I'm blaming for at least 5 of my missed shots. Anyway, I'm like, shit, I gotta take a piss. So I go back inside, find the can, get the can, come back out the door, and there's this old man sitting on a bench talking to a lady as he stares wistfully off at the trees. And he says, yeah, this course has been here for 70 years. And then I kept on walking. But that, to me, encapsulated exactly what that place was, which is a little skeet course where this place is prestigious. It's been here for 70 years. These old men were so fucking pissed off that all of us GunCon retards had more than half of the fucking golf carts and they had to walk.
That was funny because they gave us all the golf carts.
Meanwhile, we're driving these golf carts around like maniacs, and ours doesn't have a parking brake, so we're trying to get it parked and throwing a log in behind it, and then other people are almost rolling it. Some people are doing wheelies. It's like fantastic.
Oh yeah, the one that Dooley was on the back of did a wheelie. That was pretty sweet. Yeah, it was like.
So I was filling time because to me, that old man sitting on that bench, staring off into the trees, talking about how it's been here for 70 years was just, perfect descriptor of the whole place. Like, it was great. I'm sure memberships there cost a fucking arm and a leg. The rental shotguns, fucking comb's a bit too high and you can't adjust it on the fly.
$130 just for us to shoot the 100 clays.
Yeah.
Which, I guess really isn't that bad in perspective. If we went down to Pikes Peak Gun Club to shoot the same number of clays would be roughly $50. So another $70 for the eliteness of it, the niceness of it, the upkeep, the golf carts, and the rental shotgun that sucked.
Oh no, the golf carts would have cost more. Those weren't originally in the deal. I think they threw them in because they saw how many of us there were. And they realized we were going to be clogging up their course for 24 straight hours.
Get these
the golf carts were not part of the rental. Those were like a comp. Like they gave them to us because, again, I think they thought we were going to clog up their entire. They had a green and a red and a blue course. We already hogged the freaking green course for most of the day, even with the golf courts not having to walk in between them.
It was a beautiful course, though. Like I really enjoyed that day.
And your black powder shotgun.
Jeremy from We Like Shooting shot it with a Remington
Winchester
1887.
1887 lever action shotgun. 97 is a pump action.
I was
Terminator.
No, yeah, it was cool. He did a great job. He shot better than we did with his.
He also yelled out that if somebody's expensive shotgun for how much it cost, it should be hitting the clays and giving him a blowjob at the same time. Which I don't think the people at the course very much appreciated.
It was a $3,000 shotgun. The comment was deserved.
What are you going to say to a redneck gorilla?
And not a whole lot, it turns out. So the whole event was sponsored by Neomag, so that was cool. They gave us a little baggie, and I got a new Neomag, which is like a little clip that goes in your pocket that holds your CCW magazine with a strong-ass magnet, except for the clip is so fucking hard. I got to get some pliers and bend it out because I can't even clip it on my pants. So that's fun. That's not a complaint, though. That's just a comment. Exactly, Dave.
Pliers.
Also, I have a hole drilled in my pliers.
That's
right there. For building fence.
Oh, smart.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first day. And then we hung out after that in the heat and drank beers and ate catered Chipotle, and that was fine.
I don't know if you guys heard my door open back there, but my wife just like stuck out a sign that said "Want me to kill him," like off of Bobby BJ, Waterboy.
Waterboy, yeah.
Who we kill him?
Does that mean she's about to flash you?
It was something about Mike's cap and whether it has a ponytail at the top.
It'll be a visor next.
Yeah.
The hair visor.
So then that night, that is the night we went down to River's Edge Tactical down in Valley City. And So it turns out you should never shoot a full auto G3 and then shoot a full auto AK, because the strength of your boner will distract you from the full auto AK. You got to reverse it so that you start getting a good old solid stiffy, and then the G3 completes the process.
Well, okay then.
Now you know.
I shot the Tommy gun. It was enjoyable.
Everybody was shooting that one. I had to do something different. First of all, I did G3 because I own one, and that was like the firearms equivalent of trying to stay on top of a bull for 8 seconds. It was fucking rough. That green dot was just a vague blur going in a up and down, top to the middle to right direction, just dung 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 dung. The AK was a bit easier.
I regret not shooting the AK with you. However, there is other opportunities.
Were we gonna put one finger over the other and ghost the trigger?
Sensual.
What?
You said with me.
Oh,
as in together, like
I mean, we spent all day hot stocking that shotgun, so you know.
That's true. We did. Never mind. I'm fine now.
Anyway,
I was gonna go way further, but I decided.
Some people were a little impressed that a single whiff of bourbon will make Mike a little woozy.
Did he Jack Sparrow?
He did not Jack Sparrow. I will give the man credit. There was no Jack Sparrow walking. However, there was a little, especially that first night, there was because we hadn't even had dinner at that point, had we?
We did. We had dinner we had the Chipotle thing. That was
that barely counted because that was kind of in the early, whatever. But man, it didn't take long.
Mud people?
No.
Did that make a return?
Like no return of that one as far as I knew. It also helps though that there were some stronger comments made by other people. Put it that way.
Oh boy.
Day 2 of GunCon was not a whole lot going on actually during the day. I'm going to put this in my feedback to them. They really should have smushed that rain. If they were going to want to have a skeet shoot for being like a social day, they really should have smushed that skeet shoot in before the whole go to a bar and get blitzed with all the sponsors dinner type thing.
Yeah.
That could have been one day.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have done the skeet shoot earlier instead of at 12:45.
Yeah, when I was looking at it.
Oh, go ahead.
When I was looking at it and still thinking I was going to be able to go, it's like, I'm going to start driving on the 24th. And if I'm not there in time for stuff on the 25th, it's fine.
Yeah. I forgot the most important part of the trip. We went to Waffle House.
Mm-hmm. Twice.
No, just the one time. I really.
Oh, you're right. We went to the.
I really wanted to go to Waffle House the second time, but then it was like, oh, this place is closer, and I was like, that's not Waffle House, though. Damn it.
That place was okay,
but no, I had it was like a Philly cheesesteak with eggs on top, hash brown bowl. It was delicious.
Did the staff fight anybody?
No. Sadly.
No, but I wouldn't want to fight our waitress. I'm pretty sure she has like 10 knives on her.
Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't Waffle House at 3 a.m. It was just Waffle House at like 8 a.m.
Oh, you were talking about getting blitzed. I thought you ended up there after that.
Oh, no, this was breakfast.
All right. So it was breakfast before we went to the skeet shoot thing. So then we just fucking hung out all day until we went to downtown Cleveland somewhere to find where, what was it called? The Wild Eagle Bar or some shit like that.
The Wild Eagle Saloon, I think.
Yeah, whatever. So freaking Cleveland is a backwards city, man. You take a right and suddenly you're on a one way, and then you take a left to try and go all the way around, but it turns out you can't go all the way around. You got to make it like a figure 8. So we finally found a rundown ass parking garage. Oh yeah,
the parking garage was sketch. And it wasn't because it was a scary place to be, because it was sketch because you we started at the bottom, the very ground pillar. As we start up the ramp, I look over and it is just concave. Half the concrete's missing. The rebar's showing. Everything that is showing is rusted the fuck.
Just superficial.
And that was not the only one. It was most of them that looked like that. And I was like, I'm surprised this thing doesn't creak when we walk.
And the best part is we got to the top and got parked and look at it. Oh, look, there's parking lot right there. So we did the whole social dinner thing, and that was fine. Except for it turns out you give them money on a beer card. It's like it's like a prepaid card.
Mm-hmm.
They've got taps in the wall. You go pour yourself a beer. Well, that's cool. Well, it turns out you can't get your money back off the card.
Oh no!
Oh no. Yeah, Joe from AR-15 and I are sitting there, and he's like, we're both like, how does this work? And he's explaining it to us, and Joe's like, well, what if I have money left over? And the dude's like, well, you just use it next time. And Joe's like, what if we don't live here? And the dude's like, thanks for your donation.
Wow.
So we go to check
when you
it
go
out.
to it's like when you go to Dave and Buster's and you have to put increments of 5 on the card, but all of the
that's exactly what it was. It was like Dave and Buster's, but with
4
beer.
or 6.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah, but no, they're all. You've got
obnoxious.
20 credits. This game costs 5.3 credits.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So I don't know about you, Mike, but I drank a definite portion of our card and a definite portion of Gideon Optics card. I don't know. I lost count how many beers after like 4.
I only had a couple.
Oh, I had a lot.
No, I only had a couple because I got blitzed at the range.
You kept buying shit. No, not buying. You kept picking really shitty beer too.
You're
sir.
right. I did. I didn't drink one of them because it was fucking awful.
You're like, I wonder what this mango beer tastes like.
Oh my god,
it tastes like ass.
Mango.
I wonder what this blackberry beer tastes like.
You
And
deserve that.
The blackberry beer was at least tolerable. The mango beer was. I literally dumped it out and went and got something else.
And he wasn't doing like, let me get a little bit of this and try it. He pour a whole fucking pint and be like,
and Joe looks at me and he's like, why aren't you just getting a little bit at a time? Like, you don't have to get a full beer. And I was like,
Did they have Keystone?
No.
Did they have Coors Light?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, really?
It was
But I
19
was
cents a
drinking-
fluid ounce.
They had a
headache
I-
and an itchy
I don't even-
asshole.
I don't
Dude,
even
19
know.
cents a fluid ounce. So like literally $2 beers. And that was half the beer on the wall.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Joe
like,
got $50
"Damn."
on his card. Like Joe and I drank off of his card and Joe got $50 and I went and my first
Oh.
beer, like we all 3 get beers and we still had $46 left.
Yeah, so you're looking at the card total go down. You're like, man,
Oh no!
it's gonna be a long night.
Yeah.
But like I said, Bob from Gideon Optics is like, oh, let me buy you a beer. It's like, dude, we got our own card to drain. I'm good. He's like, fuck you. I don't want to drink all this. Like, oh, damn it.
And I think
Bob-
I drank some of Bob's too, but
Bob
Go
would
to-
be funny. Like, I put $69 on my card, and then it's like, oh, I've made a mistake, sir.
because in this this day and age, who really expects to go to a bar and pay $2.30 for a full beer?
I honest to God never would have thought that I would have want to go to GunCon hoping my card got declined.
Well, it never declined the
Stop
card.
madness.
They had, I don't even remember what companies they were. One of them might have been Great Lakes Brewing. They had a couple of pale
Yep.
ales that were I drank a lot of.
Yeah, Great Lakes Brewing Company. They're apparently an Ohio company. They had several on the wall that were tasty. I bought a 12-pack for the house that had 4 different brews of theirs, a couple IPAs, and the IPAs were okay. But yeah, Great Lakes Brewing Company, man, pretty solid.
So it's a good thing we had a designated driver.
Yep.
That was good. I have not wandered down a street that intoxicated in public in a very long time.
Thank you, Mrs. Rusty.
I wasn't sure if it was Mrs. Rusty or Mrs.
It was-
Dooley.
It was definitely Mrs. Rusty, Mrs. Dooley.
Yeah, Mrs. Dooley wasn't there. The rusty pillar in the parking garage looked a lot better intoxicated than sober.
Oh, it's fine.
It's like, oh, then we walk in behind the we must have walked right in when there's a shift change. There we go. At the parking garage, because we go through the door. It's like, whoa, that kid is high.
Now, keep in mind, not all of the beers, like Montana Dirt Road, not all the beers were 19 cents. Some of the more craftier ones, like the good IPA, some of them were like 49 cents.
Okay, let's be fair. There's not a good IPA.
So that's an oxymoron.
The better of the not disgusting.
The less shit ones.
Yes. Yeah. But some of the actual good beers, like Guinness, was only 49 cents or whatever for a liter. So it was literally like $6, as opposed to, go to a craft beer bar and that same beer is $12.
$12 for a beer. That's a 15-pack, sir.
It made drinking beer a lot easier. So then we go back to our while we were there, I met Dave from Hive Point. That was good.
You met Dave from I met last year. You're right.
He was there with Tony Simon, and I honestly never picked up what he does or where he's from, but is a good dude named Angelo, and that's all I remember meeting. No, bye Mike.
Yeah.
Met them, talked to the Angelo dude about how many deer he's killed with his bumper, and it's more than me. Talked with Dave from High Point, and then we left the bar and we went back to the Airbnb where we drank some more duly made old fashions. That was a good night.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about, which this isn't a gun con deal, it's a drinking deal, but the more time that goes on, the more bourbon becomes an off switch for me. Where it's just like, I could not have bourbon for I could have bourbon for a week straight. That's all I drink is bourbon. It's fine. I do 1 week of drinking beer, and I have one little like 2-finger glass of bourbon, and it's like boop, fucking all those beers you drink, they're all coming now. Fucking gone.
So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for saying that, because you're right. These are more like a lot of play with guns and then go drink deal. Why is everybody mad that someone got drunk at the drink deal?
Nobody's mad.
Who is mad?
Nobody's mad.
Oh, okay. As long as nobody's mad, I got drunk at the drink deal.
No, nobody's mad.
Was your man bun mad?
Laughing at me because I had a man bun apparently and can't hold my booze. That's fine.
We'll never forgive you for the man bun, and the fact that you drink one beer and you start throwing out some very interesting comments is just good fun for all.
Right.
Like most people have to be like 4 or 5 drinks down the road to say the kind of things that you say when you drink half a can of Coors Light.
Most people drink a lot more regularly than I do.
That's what makes it entertaining, because normally, you're all drinking and it's going to be a little while before you get there. And then you just show up with the appetizers being like, I drink half a can of beer. Did you know those people over there are...
Mike does not pregame. Mike should not pregame.
Mike is just all game.
Yes. All game from the start.
So, needless to say, I woke up in the morning with not the worst hangover I've ever had, but a little bit of one. And then it's 5 minutes. Now we got to go to range day. We're going to shoot a whole bunch of guns. It's like, all right, I got to take care of business real quick. Went downstairs, hurled, always better. Because it's like, I'm about to get in a car. This sounds horrible. I should just go throw up and get it over with. I'll be right back. Went to range day, checked in at that fun range where all of the guys had drop leg holsters and poorly fitted plate carriers.
Yeah, I'm surprised we survived.
John Patton's mom was there. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah. Huh. We love Mama Patton.
Like, for real?
Yeah, for real. Apparently she was there last year too.
She's such a wonderful lady. She comes and helps her son with these events he does.
I thought this was going to be another Mike joke.
Go talk to my mom. She'll handle it.
Like, I'm going to make mom jokes, but I'm not going to say mean shit about John Patton's mom. She's awesome.
So, wandered over to range day. Range day was sponsored by First Form, apparently, which, for those of you who don't know, they make like energy drinks and recover drinks and meat sticks.
Oh,
and
okay.
So the best opener I had,
are my favorite.
the most,
They're not. Sorry,
the best, the best opener I had for them was to wander up and say, "I have a hangover. Give me something for it."
Did they give you a packet?
Oh, they gave me like 3 packets and a meat stick. So I was like, all right,
nice.
Damn, Skippy. Yeah, I'm a hangover. I'm usually a hair of the dog kind of guy.
Yeah, it wasn't my worst one I've ever had. It was just a little bit of one. So it was just, but drank plenty, but I also drank a shit ton of water at the same time. So we were good to go. This is turning into a long story. Range day.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you take over.
So
I need to grab another beer.
So he's all wonky as shit at range day and just like stumbling around like
stumbling around.
My life.
No, I was not.
You were a zombie.
That's a lot
coming
from
my life.
I know.
I know.
I hated. Wait. I have to defend myself real quick. I hated my life because it was hot as fuck and 100% humidity.
And you were hungover, like
all
three
hungover.
combined.
If you want to see me bad hungover, you should have been around in 2016 in about, I think it was like August 26th. That was fucking bad. Anyway,
I think that every 10% of humidity is 1x multiplier for your hangover.
Yeah, I would agree. Like he had to have been miserable and he's just not admitting it. Like he looked miserable. It was kind of hilarious because I'm glad it wasn't me.
Pizza.
Dude, I'm so glad it wasn't me. I learned my lesson at the range and took it kind of easy at the bar.
To be fair, you start drinking at 8 and are shit hammered at 9 and are in bed at 10 and are sober by 12, then you're fine.
This is in the morning, right?
Only 1 or 2 of those things is fairly true.
What was that, Vince?
I said that's in the morning, right?
Yes.
All right. So range day, there was a bunch of companies I can't remember. Notable ones that we had a lot of fun with. Shooting Dave from High Point. He had one of the new High Point ARs there. And that
was
thing.
That the HP 15?
Yes.
Yeah.
It for a $500 AR, it looked really, really good. Like you pick up a DPMS nice. Oracle and you're like, this is a $500 AR. This thing sucks. You pick up a High Point AR and you're like, this is an AR. You don't think this thing sucks, which is like high praise for a High Point because, like, I mean, we know High Point, they work. They work. That's about it. So this, I'm guessing the
what all have you covered so far?
I just dove into the AR High Point.
Well, and that there was a bunch of notable companies there, but listed none of them.
Well, I was starting with High Point.
Oh.
There was a couple of bolt gun companies there. I really don't remember who, but one of them had a 7mm, the new one, the 7mm backcountry. Shot a couple of rounds of that. That was pretty cool.
Montana Dirt Roads, I think he messaged us on Instagram and asked if there was any wood-stocked hunting rifles that you saw out there.
Nope. Not a
It was not a hunting heavy event.
It never is. Caldwell's about the only hunting related people that you can actually see.
Very much more like the shooting sports related.
So hang on. High Point AR was really cool. They had
so companies that were there. Oh wait, that's the wrong email. 2 seconds. Here we go. All right, so companies that were there. So Shaw Barrels, Kelby Rifles. Actually, I'll start on this list. Meprolite was out. Rost Martin, Kinetic Development Group, mentioned them. Rifle Speed, Duria, who I didn't remember seeing. All these aren't at the range day. Ranger Point Precision was there. H&K, Align Tactical, Night Vision. Who all was at the range day was Shaw, Kelby, Knox Picks, who I don't recall.
I don't remember seeing them.
That's that's IRA.
Oh, so they were under IRA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Century / Canic, Connect Development Group, Next Level Tactical, H&K, Optics Planet, High Point, DNT, which is a company that is now they are importing thermal optics and night vision optics that I can't remember who was importing them before. They made the Zulus, or they had it branded as. They're not a like new manufacturing company. They took over importing from somebody else. Rifle Speed, DS Arms, Radian was out there, Gideon there, Aim Surplus, Meprolite, Caldwell, Yankee Hill Machine, Romeo Hotel. Some of these companies we skipped because there was quite a few that were like pistol caliber carbines or AR carbine or like AR 9mm ARs. Ranger Point, Ross Martin, Tandem Cross, Recover Tactical, Stuff and Things, Phoenix, which made air guns, which those were really cool. Or did Pyramid? No, Pyramid was the air guns. Phoenix was something else. Xtar, Matador Arms, and then a line in Harrington.
All right, so I think Kelby Rifles had the 7mm backcountry.
That was Shaw.
Okay, so Shaw had the 7mm backcountry. Kelby was right next to them. I didn't bother with Kelby. H&K was just down the line. We shot a bunch of H&Ks. You shot the H&Ks you wanted to shoot. I shot the they had an MP. What's the 308? That's like an MP5. Hang 308.
You're too fast. Very first thing we did is wander on up, and I believe we stopped. I think the very first ones we hit was Aim Surplus, right? Or very near to it.
I'm not going in order of how we got there because I just don't remember. I'm just going down the row of tents in my head and talking about what was there because that's what I do remember.
So I believe the first thing we hit was Aim Surplus because the very first gun I shot was they've got a line of Glock barrels out, which is called Just the Tip, that has just an EDB little comp cut right at the tip of the barrel. We shot a Glock 48 or one of those little Glocks.
Yeah. No, we did go to Aim Surplus first because I bumped at the beer drinking event at the bar the night before. I ran into Kenji from Aim Point or Aim Surplus, and I was wearing one of my WLS shirts, and we got to talking, and we just,
you fucking bitch, WLS shirt.
I wore I wore every single one of my LGH shirts that I had to the events that mattered. And Sam will back me up. I wore an LGH shirt to the shotgun shoot. I wore LGH to the range day, and I wore LGH to the gun con. So bite me. At least I went.
Well, the funny part about Aim Surplus is he's like, I don't know if you heard of us. It's like, dude, you send me at least 2 emails a day, maybe 1 email a day. A lot of it is law enforcement trade-in, like handguns or rifles. Of course I knew who the hell you are. You tempt me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Shut up, sir. They had the line of barrels. They've got some triggers out for ARs that were, I think they're coming $120. Felt like a good trigger to me. I'm not a trigger.
Those were the ones that had the triggers just off to the AR triggers and you could feel them.
Yeah. Well, they also, that law enforcement trade-in Colt upper had one of their triggers in it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That we shot. So that was cool. We slid on down the line to DNT. They had a Honey Badger out. We shot that. A Honey Badger's a 300 blackout build that came out years ago for a little suppressed 300 blackout. I'm mad because they didn't tell anybody that thing had an FRT in it. At least they didn't tell us it had an FRT in it.
Oh yeah, and then we had to go back and FRT it, which
we didn't FRT that. We FRT'd Gideon. The Honey Badger we did not FRT. I only knew that thing had an FRT in it because I was looking through Instagram footage later, and they told the big name YouTubers about it. They didn't tell the little shits like us about it.
Oh, so only the people they recognize. That's kind of
fucking Mr. Guns and Gear, who, if you like his YouTube channel, good for you. I've never really cared for it, but he started on one end of the line and fucking speed ran down the whole thing and was gone. And believe me, if there was something that was full auto or an FRT, he got to shoot it. Anyway, so then we popped over to H&K, and I don't care what anybody says. I will defend H&K now, not just because I own one, but because that lady gave us sunscreen.
She was very, very nice, and that sunscreen was very pleasant. And I wish I'd put some on my nose so my wife wouldn't yell at me.
So we put on.
How much did they charge you for it?
Nothing. H&K
What was the
doesn't
warranty
hate you.
She
turn
gave
on?
us a nice
They
smile.
give you sunscreen.
It's Heckler and Koch in sunscreen. It's
Mhm.
HKS.
Oh no, we lied. The very first thing we did was stop by Rifle Speed. That was before
I
everybody
really
opened
hate you
fire.
right
though.
now.
Oh, did you see Kyle?
Yeah, we
did
did.
see
We went
that.
and talked to him, and I'm pretty sure he didn't remember me.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure you just wandered up and said, "Oh, hi, good to see you again. It's me, Mike." And he went, "Who the fuck are you?"
I'm Mike from Let's Go Hunt. I'm wearing a shirt that fucking says it, but okay. And maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm.
He remembered who we were the day afterward because I went up and was like, "Hey,
Oh,
if you don't remember, had you on a couple times." He's like, "Yeah, I got you guys now."
I'm not
He's a
very
busy
good at.
guy.
I'm not very good at social. Leave me alone.
Anyway, so then we rolled on down the line. We did DNT. That was fine. Radiant had some ARs out. Okay, cool. AIM Surplus was a decent stop.
I want to talk.
White,
I want to. Are you
Yep.
just going down them and saying what was there? Because I want to talk about the stuff that was there.
well, we didn't stop by Radiant.
We stopped at AIM Surplus and we stopped at HK and we didn't say
We just
anything we
talked
shot.
we just talked about AIM
You
Surplus.
just said they were.
I literally just talked about how we shot their just the tip barrel and we shot their AR with the trigger.
Didn't talk about the HKs.
Okay, we shot a fucking VP9 or a P30.
You did. They had
What did
a.
you shoot, Mike?
I shot the 308 MP5 that they have, which was really cool. And
That's
then they had a
Century.
7. It doesn't matter. It's still an MP5.
No, it's not. And
M308.
that's Century and it's an HK51. We haven't got the Century yet, sir. Different company, sir. So
Poor Mike.
rifle speed, we shot rifle speed 2. Vince, when you said they had something new coming out, do you remember what it was? What the upgrade to the adjustable gas blocks were?
No, I was just looking at the email we got of who was going to be at GunCon and who was releasing something new at GunCon.
Do
And
you
it just-
remember if they previously had one that had basically like a knurled grip on the end?
They have been
Like when I say knurled, it looked like
I
a
know.
like a castle tower, like it had little teeth on it.
Yeah, I've seen that on social media prior to that. Like they've been advertising that already, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, as far as they talked to me then, or we talked to them, they didn't say they had anything new come out.
It was a bunch of cool stuff. Like they got them all in different configurations to fit whatever foregrip you have, but it didn't. They all looked the same, just different.
Well, they always had the same. They always had the variable lengths. The only thing I saw I didn't remember was the one that had the very end had all the teeth on it that you could grab onto, which reminded me of Vince's hack where he, put a screw in one. But if it's familiar to you, 3 screws, my bad.
Anyway,
Let's see here. Optics Planet. Stopped by them briefly. I think those are the ones we waited in line for, but they were taking so long we moved on. High Point, that was a fun one.
Yep.
I like High Point. Shot a 995 carbine
I just like Dave from High Point.
or 999 pistol. and
Dave's are
then
pretty cool.
shot-
Dave's are
Dave's are
pretty cool.
okay. Shot their HP 15 AR. Shot the 10. No, there's a 9mm. It was the Yeet cannon. It wasn't the 10mm. They only had 9mm out. Popped over to Gideon Optics. They were right next to Gideon Optics, which was a theme because they were right next to Gideon Optics the next day. It's the Judge XL. So whatever, no, not the Judge XL.
Mediator.
Mediator XL. So it's not the big mailbox bastard. It's actually just the Mediator, but slightly bigger with a battery now on top.
Now the Mediator XL is the one that is
No,
a giant
I
aim
looked
point.
it up before the show. It's not the giant. It's not the giant big mailbox rifle optic.
I thought
That's
you
literally
said
what
that
Bob
was the
told me was
Mediator
the Mediator
2.
XL was the
Yeah,
And the Mediator XL is
the Mediator 2 is the slightly smaller one or a slightly bigger one.
The Mediator 2 is the one with the battery on top, and the Mediator XL I heard was
Is the rifle optic.
Yeah. Which, okay, did y'all mess with the mailbox, like the big
Yeah.
mailbox?
Yeah,
It wasn't.
Um,
meant to
I'm
do
interested
anything,
in
though.
that.
it was kind of cool. It was very large. It was basically the size of an EOTech, but with a tiny little dot in it. I liked that it had a huge window and whatnot. It wasn't mounted on anything, so all you could do was like look around with it. But I'd have to put it on a rifle and actually see how it feels on a rifle. Something that big feels like it should have holographics, but maybe that's just that's what I'm used to. You know what I mean?
Is it not multi-reticle?
It may be. I think that one Bob said was just a prototype, and that it's going to be later. They just put the dot in that one as the prototype because that's like they're still working on it a little bit.
I might still have a chance. I was trying to convince Bob that they needed to put a 300 blackout reticle in one of them.
Thomas, that's my Viking blood. Thank you. I'm a quarter Portuguese and 3/4 Viking. But sorry, Vince, go ahead.
Which quarter? Yeah, I was trying to convince him that there needed to be a 300 blackout / 7.62 by 3.9 reticle as one of the options. And if they're going to do multi-reticle, you can just have that as one of the options.
I don't want to put words in his mouth. Maybe we should just bring him back on to BS and talk about some of this stuff too. But I thought I remembered him saying something about BDCs being an option in the future for that particular one.
I thought he said that, yeah. Anyway.
But it may have been a different company because I can't keep shit straight apparently, so...
Well, anyway, that was Gideon. Next to Gideon was DS Arms. They make FALs.
Gideon had the FRT.
Well, they did, but we haven't got. We came back to them, but I guess we can come back to them. Gideon was running out of ammo towards the end.
Yeah,
and so they wanted to just basically waste their 5.56. So I don't remember how many rounds I shot out of that, but it's probably like 20.
We pulled like. He and the Bob, me and the other guy, we pulled like half of his mags apart, and the ammos that he had, I think he had 3 mags, and we just separated those out and made 6 mags, or something like that. And we were both just like grabbing handfuls, like whatever, just stuffed mags. There was no particular set rounds, just whatever's in it. But yeah, that I'd never shot an FRT before. That was fun. It felt like a full auto.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't. It felt, but was not, because one individual round goes off per trigger pull.
But close enough for government work.
Right. And like it literally as close as the government even wants to allow, apparently.
It is technically not the best kind of not.
Right.
It's to the letter of the law. Not a full auto.
Correct.
So DS Arms was next to them.
Yeah,
that stingy bastard only lets you shoot 3 rounds per magazine.
That's why he wasn't interested in talking to you, because you called him a stingy bastard all day.
I didn't call him a stingy bastard to his face. And he was interested in talking to us. He just wasn't interested in talking to us in that way. I got to do some research on it.
He liked us, but he didn't like us?
Yeah. He brought up an interesting, which oddly enough, a lot of people skipped his. I also noticed a lot of people would skip H&K because I think they're like, oh, we don't like H&K. And then I'm like, oh, whatever, those are old guns. He had a lot of ammo left over at the day, possibly because he was rationing it out so much. But shot a couple of those. I really like those. Wasn't able to ever talk him into giving me one. And then Century was who was next to him, and they had the HK51, or rather the Turkish import of what was kind of an HK51, which is basically an MP5 sized G3 / so it's chambered in 308. That's where you shot that fun, loud little bastard.
That was, regardless of where I shot it, which you're right, it was there, but it was fun. That thing, it didn't really kick as much as I expected it to in 308, but then again, it's a big chunky rifle.
It's a pistol.
Big chunky pistol rifle.
Pistol.
You're right, pistol. But they also had the 7.62 and by 3.9 and the 5.56 one. And after shooting a 308, I was like, well, it's just the same but smaller. No thanks.
I mean, I shot the 5.56 as well. The HK51 was the freaking SAS requested that from H&K as kind of like, oh, we don't really trust these subguns. We kind of want rifle power, but in a compact package, and a 308 with I think it's like an 8.3-inch barrel. Something like that. It's less than 10 inches. A 308 with less than 10 inches is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit.
They ended up not really going anywhere.
Well, aren't you losing a whole bunch of performance doing that?
I mean, if you're shooting a guy across the room who needs performance, I mean, big bullet's going to put him in the dirt. But now you're just got this. You've got it's just so much excess when a
lot of volume.
Like
right. That's what I mean. You're making a really big bang, but you're not really getting what the big bang was designed for. You may as well just.
Yeah, Mike's right.
Like, I don't disagree. I mean, they didn't really go anywhere.
Which is probably where 300 Blackout came from, like getting the idea of a big heavy pill into a like small, I'm guessing, evolution wise.
Or 350 Legend.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I mean, you could shoot a dude in your house and then not have to sweep that area.
I believe they're eventually replaced by the 53, which is in 5.56, which at that point now you're getting more into, modern SBR to caliber and size. So yeah.
17 BMG or GTFO.
I mean, hey, I'm not going to slow your roll. So they were the last booth on the main rifle line. Then you turn the corner and hit the smaller bays. Over there, I remember the first one we hit was what's their name? They made all the 22 parts. Tandem Cross.
Oh yeah, the Tandem Cross rifles were really, really cool.
They did,
and the 22s as well.
They had a lot of like pistol accessories there was a Taurus 22, the Ruger Mark 22s, but a lot of what I would call kind of more race gun accessories.
Yeah,
like here's a gas pedal on this Ruger. Like, well, thanks. It's a 22. I don't think I needed a gas pedal on it.
I needed to be there.
Gas pedal. Same.
Yeah. Hopefully next year they'll put it in South Dakota, which will be easier for
all of us.
I want a trigger for this Mark IV to make it better and more fun for the kids to shoot.
The funnest thing they had,
a better trigger. That's
the funnest thing they had was basically a 1022, but it had been stripped down to basically be a little space gun. Like, it didn't look like much of a 1022 anymore.
It was tiny and light, and it was really neat.
Oh, you're talking about that was the one in the little Magpul stock where they had created a barrel shroud that was vented with M-LOK to cut down the weight. I'm talking about the little freaking. It was much heavier as the one you shot before that one.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 1022 billet.
Oh yeah.
Like just it looked like a little space gun.
Bastardized.
The one with the reversible mag, the figure 8 mag, except it was like 20 rounds, and they were like, this is technically 2 10-round magazines that are completely sealed, and they were just basically butted up to each other. That was a really neat idea. I would like some of those.
I'm gonna pull up a picture of it if I can. Come on,
do it.
Well, the problem is it was a nice full picture when I clicked on it and Google, then it took me to a advertisement.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah, all right, I want to skip ahead.
We're gonna skip ahead. It's fine. Because who we hit right after that was Ross Martin, who makes a
handguns.
A 9mm handgun that is not just a straight up knockoff of a Gen 3 Glock, and I appreciate that part. I also appreciated the fact that I went up and shook the gal's hand, and she's like, "Thank you for not shaking my hand," or "Thank you for shaking my hand like a man," which threw me off for a moment. And then apparently she just really hates it when somebody gives her a weak ass handshake.
And then I proceeded to overdo every handshake after that for the rest of the trip, and weirded people out even more.
Did you
the next day? I made sure to stop by the booth and give her a weak ass handshake.
I did that to John Patton as we left, and he was like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
This is why we can't see
Brother.
her anywhere.
But I continue to go.
Shot the Ross Martins. Those are cool little compact guns. Then we popped over.
They have really nice triggers.
They do. Then we popped over to the Pyramid guys. Oh no! Well, yeah, so that made me mad. One of the guys I met the night before made a double-barreled suppressor for the Remington, like Keltec KSG knockoff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
As we're sitting there at Ross Martin, the rain, they had knocked over. Somebody had knocked over a couple of steel targets. So the range officer come by. Said, I'm going to call a ceasefire in a minute. And 5 minutes later, he hadn't called one.
So we went back to shooting.
So then we went. Then we started to go back to shooting, and then he comes back by saying, "Okay, now it's a ceasefire." So I was like, "Okay, well, whatever. We're moving on." So I didn't get to shoot the double-barreled suppressor, which I meant to.
Yeah, that whole thing with that guy, like, well, I might need to look, dude.
Either
I saw the target fall down. Call it
ceasefire.
or don't. Don't come and say, "Well, we might." Call it or don't. Don't be a ding dong.
Did
Apparently,
you?
what?
Go ahead.
Apparently, somebody wiped out one of the awning legs, like the little pop up tent awnings. Apparently, somebody wiped out one of the legs with that double barrel shotgun because they shot right barrel and right barrel cleared it and left barrel did not clear it.
Nice.
I was not fair for that, and I was very sad. So then we skipped. Go ahead.
Did you even get a look at that double barrel suppressor, like how it attaches?
I wish I did, but I did not.
We probably could have at the convention, but not. I didn't see them there.
I didn't see him there. I'm sure he was somewhere, but there was a few companies that was like, "Oh, did you go look at 1791's AR lower and upper?" Like, who? Oh, they're over in that corner. They go wander over that corner. Like, oh, I didn't even see you there. Shit.
Yeah, right. Like, and 1791 was really cool because they got like super lightweight AK and AR parts, and it's
some kind of magnesium alloy.
Yeah, it's super neat. And their AK foregrip in particular was really, really nice. Like,
but
I'd be willing to get rid of the wood for that.
What was it? Sean that was telling me that, or was it somebody was telling me that essentially that 1791 has built an AR with their upper, I don't think their lower is for sale yet, but they've built a prototype that with an optic, maybe with a light, but I think it was definitely with an optic, was like 6.5 pounds or lighter than that even.
It's not that.
So then it was fully loaded. Okay, so then it was fully loaded because it was not a 6.5 pounds. That's a stripped down AR. It was like the equivalent of my 10.5 pound AR coming in under 7 pounds.
Then holding the two lowers, they had a normal.
It was, I think it was lowers or uppers.
They had. They only had the foregrip for the upper, or may have been an upper. You're right, it was upper.
Whatever.
They had a machined upper, and they had one of their uppers, and you could hold them in your hands, and their upper was significantly lighter. So if you can get significantly lighter only with just the upper, nothing else in it, you've built a whole rifle out of that crap, and you're going to get a rifle that is significantly lighter than an AR, and you're going to be like, holy shit. I take this everywhere.
That interests me because you said it's 1791.
Yes,
1791 Industries. The downside is their stripped upper is $300.
Yeah, it's expensive shit.
Oh my god,
it's so expensive. The AK foregrip was $200, right?
To be fair, that's not outside of the realm for a machined
AK.
I mean, Midwest is more than that, but it's not like. You're getting into Zenitco prices when you get to the 200 for a short AK rail. So, but coming from more of an AK world, $200 is not like outrageous.
Okay, so
it's expensive.
This is anything else.
Sorry, go ahead. It's 35% lighter than 7075 T6 aluminum.
Okay, that's like you're gonna pay exponentially more for lighter stuff.
Yeah.
When you're talking about firearms. That's just across the board. You're gonna pay. You don't pay twice as much for half the weight. You pay like 5 times as much for half the weight.
Except for their rails were not, if I remember correctly, their rails were not terrible. But
that's up my alley for like run and gun stuff, because you want to be as light as possible while running with all of your equipment. And
so like a 12.5-inch rail was $250, which is expensive if you're comparing it against a lot of rails, but at the same time, that
like retail, that's not bad. Like there's Midwest Industries rails that come in at $250.
Oh,
yeah, if it's 5.3 ounces for that 12-inch rail, or 6.4 for a 15-inch.
The I just remembered about KDG.
The 12-inch is like $250.
No, how much does it weigh?
Oh, how much does it weigh? It's 5.3 ounces.
That's okay. That's ridiculous.
That's where I was saying, I can't remember what I believe the conversation I had was that an equivalent of my, 10-pound AR was coming in underneath 7 pounds. So optic, light, possibly laser box. Anyway.
Okay. That's interesting.
That was cool.
Tell me expensive.
I'm hoping this is one of those things that over time might become a little cheaper as it becomes more prevalent.
Tell me about the Stuff and Things R50.
Oh, yes.
Or P50 or whatever it was.
ST50.
Air guns first.
Oh, okay.
I want to draw it out because Vince wants to know, so I'm going to tell him about the air guns first. It was Pyramyd, right?
Yeah, Pyramyd Air.
They have it was a long boy too. I should have figured out how long it was. I forgot to look the brochures up in my truck. A 50 caliber air gun. That was fun as fuck to shoot.
Shot a 325 grain slug at 850.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So it's basically. Like I think ballistically, he said it's a lot. It's matches on with a 9mm, but it was an air gun.
I am fairly certain their scope was off because everybody was taking dead aim at the steel directly in front, and everybody missed. Like you would hear 325 grains of lead hitting those things.
I hit it. I hit it, but I was aiming high left because I heard somebody say that it was shooting low right, so I aimed high left, and then I smacked it.
Oh, okay. Well, I just aimed dead center, but I was like, you know what? It's cool. I don't care that I missed, but
I only hit it again because I overheard him telling somebody it's hitting high left. It's not because I'm an expert. I'm so cool. That was really fucking cool.
It's an antelope. I'm gonna shoot.
The good news is he'd have to slow down, and I think you only get like 4 shots before it needs a recharge.
That's
no shit.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
Wow,
sounds about right.
So then they had a full auto BB gun, which I've seen in Cabela's and I've seen in Shields. I think it's like $150. It looks like a little short barrel rifle AR.
Yeah,
but damn, I might have to buy one because that was fun as fuck.
They're fucking fun.
It just rips through like 30 BBs.
Yeah.
And then they had 2 bolt action air guns. One of them was a bullpup, which is fucking weird. And he was very, very, very paranoid about nobody's allowed to put their hand up here. You have to put it back here. So you had to shoot it like really compressed because he didn't want anybody popping through their finger. But
those were neat. They were purpose built for hunting. He actually talked about hunting iguanas with the big long one was his personal rifle. He hunted iguanas in Florida with it. Hunts, probably I suppose.
That same trip Sean went on, or similar.
Yeah, maybe. The full auto one surprised me though because he had this 60 round mag in it, what looks like a 60 round AR mag, and I ripped through my 30 rounds, and so as soon as I hear it go dry, I immediately go to drop the mag and reload. And because these are all people's mags, I'm not going to just throw them in the dirt. I'm reaching up and I'm grabbing them as I eject them. And as I ejected it, I damn near dropped it because I was like, why is it so heavy? Yeah, it's a 60 round drum mag or a 60 round mag because it's full of BBs, and it's really a 30 round mag that's a quick load. So you turn it on your side, you go ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and shove 30 more rounds into battery in the magazine, so you can run through them in the rifle.
I did drop it because again, I popped the magazine release and then, loosely gripping what I expect to be as an empty
a light
AR
empty
mag, and it fell right out of my hand on the dirt. I was like, oh.
You ever go to pick up a beer that you were absolutely certain was full and you damn near throw it across the room? It was like the exact opposite of that.
The gallon of milk in the fridge door just
shit.
It's like George Carlin has a skit about that. We're like, you ever go pick up a suitcase and just for a moment you feel really strong. My favorite out of that though is he talks about like, when you miss a step going upstairs and you expect there to be one more, and so you do a little funny walk.
Yeah.
Or you're going downstairs. Or you're going downstairs and you hit the floor because you thought there was one more step. You're like, oh, like, God damn, my hips are in my chest.
Or you anyway,
okay, so what Mike's saying just made me think of the scene from The Office where they're going over all of Jim's pranks that he's pulled on Dwight, and it just says, I hit myself in the face with my phone. and Jim's like, oh yeah, every day I stayed a little late after work and I put a nickel in his phone and I kept adding them, and then one day I just took them all out.
That's so fantastic.
Stuff and things. What's it called? What was it called?
It's a Kel-Tec P50 with an ST50 lower on it that takes that they had put a full auto trigger pack into.
Yes.
And chambered in 5.7 that uses P90 mags, but upside down, not like a P90 top load. They go in from the bottom. Load. It's a really cool design. And then they had these clippers so that you had two of them together and you could just like just like a quick magazine clip.
Okay. I like the idea of the R50, but if you've actually looked at the design, you have to unclamshell the thing to get the mag out. So you don't just top load the mag in the Kel-Tec. You have to open it up, then take the mag out, put a new mag in, and close it back.
And I was talking about the top load on the P90. I didn't know the Kel-Tec was set up that way.
Yeah, it's set up that way.
You have to like open it.
Oh,
yes.
That's dumb.
So what Stuff and Things did
was made it
they
smart.
Took that design and they stripped it down to where, they made it smart. They moved the fire control group up behind the magazine so that now the mag can just drop free from underneath and you hook a new one in and go boop.
And doesn't it also take AR-15 fire control groups?
Yes,
I believe so. Yes.
I did. I think I mentioned that takes AR-15 trigger packs.
Man, I love this for a PDW. Like
dude, with the 50 round mag underneath and then clipped to another 50 round mag, you've got 100 rounds right there. And what I put on Instagram was only 25 rounds.
Oh my!
I like it only if it's full auto though.
I don't know why Stuff and Things was like, hey, take 25 rounds and shoot it because I don't think they let many other people do it. Was it because it was about to rain and we were all leaving anyway?
Yep. It looked, which it never actually did rain that heavily, but it was looking like it was about to rain. And he was like, we're going to pack it. We want to burn this ammo because the ammo was provided by GunCon.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to burn their ammo so that, they did their part. And so, he loaded up 25 rounds, something like that each.
Yeah, 25.
Mm-hmm.
And you were taking your sweet time. He was taking his time. I was like, do you mind if he's like, yeah, go to town, dude. So I put my 25 in. Dude.
And then they had, what the hell was it called? They made the Groza clone a while ago, the Gepard, whatever. I can't remember the pronounce of it. Basically, you take a NAC 90, you turn it into a bullpup where the Glock mag goes up through the magazine or goes through the pistol grip. It's neato. It's based on at that point, I think this is one of the weird designs that were coming up within the 90s. post-Soviet Union, but it could be back in the 80s of just trying to do different things with random fucking AKs lying around. It's like mildly cool, but it didn't like make my day.
It was mildly cool. Like it for something that takes Glock mags, I'd probably be like, oh, because I have a bunch of Glock mags, so like, why not buy something else that takes Glock mags?
It fits in that niche of like, this is like a cool range toy type fun thing,
right?
But that's about it for me.
Which is exactly what I thought too. Like, oh, this would be a neat range toy. I have no practical use for this at all.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was the last one we hit because the weather was rolling in. We had eaten lunch in the middle. It was boiling hot underneath that tent. I got to experience the joys of taking a piss in an outhouse in the wonderful summer heat. I hate doing that. It didn't even have any good graffiti in theirs either, so that was a shame. Yeah. Damn, Mike.
Jesus.
When did you move to Ukraine?
You fucking firefight.
I thought that was Dave. I thought I saw like something flashing, like Dave's watching some fireworks on a different screen or something.
Nope.
No, Dave had a desktop. That flash was his desktop, and he did it 4 times.
So that wrapped up range day for me. We did go back from there and go all the way to the other end.
That's when I shot the 7mm backcountry.
The 7mm backcountry, which was a real thumper.
It was. I liked it.
It's one of those things where it was like $4 a round.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can tune my 300 Win Mag, and for me, that'll be just fine.
I liked it, but not for $4 a round. Oh, come on.
It's steel cased. I looked at him and said, "Steel case, huh?" And he said, "It's a proprietary strong alloy." He said it as a joke, sarcastically, because he's like, "Yeah, it's a fucking steel case."
Wait a minute. What was it chambered in?
7mm backcountry. Dude, he pulled out the round and he gave it to me, and I was like, "Dude, this looks exactly like 30-06." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's at 80,000 psi."
Yeah,
well, the shell looks like a 30-06 shell. If you give me a 223 shell, I'm going to say this looks like a 223. How is it different? If you can tell the shell, why not say you could, like, if this looks like a 6.5 Grendel, hey, this looks like a 6.5 Grendel. Like, I'm not the FUD because it looked like a 30-06. I might be the FUD that because I recognized it.
That's exactly what he said. I just looked it up and he read back the tagline from the website verbatim. Utilizes a proprietary steel alloy that includes other unique elements. That's what he said, but he said it with a little bit of a sarcastic lilt. It's like, yeah, it's a steel case, isn't it?
Yeah, someone figured out how to make a steel case that's,
shinier.
I've got to hand it to them. At least they had their guns sighted.
Oh yeah, it was,
because that ting that was satisfactory. It was only
100. Yeah, the range was 100 yards going into like a shale cliff, but they had some little teeny targets right there, which you can aim at with the 7mm.
That should make quite the noise.
I shot some other bolt guns that I got videos of, but I didn't really talk about them.
The rifle was loud. What caught you off guard, what sounded louder, was the reverb coming back off the cliff, because it was like deeper. So the rifle was a big solid, like boom, crack, but then the reverb would come back just as like this thunderous, like, oh shit, there's thunder over there.
Oh, our backstop was a 200-foot tall dirt cliff, like straight vertical dirt cliff.
There was no backstop. We were shooting straight at Cleveland. The thing is, though, nobody noticed.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cleveland was just like incoming.
Okay, so that'll cap range day, because God, we've been talking forever.
You've been talking forever.
Well, somebody's got to talk. Should we get to
you said Mike talk and you kept talking. Yeah, let's talk about the spicy stuff, because dude, the actual convention was hilarious. Not only did the owner of the venue, so John Patton did what he could to get us a venue in Cleveland. The owner of the venue, I'm pretty sure, then took the opportunity to lie to Patton. She downplayed the event. She told him the event space was good for 3,000 people. It turns out the entire building is what's rated for 3,000 people. The space that we had, which apparently they use for a lot of weddings, that space was not rated for 3,000 people, and so
this is, at this point, this is our speculation for why events turned out that they did.
That is, you're right.
The truth may come out later, but for right now, this is the best we could come up with.
This is fact that she told him it was rated for 3,000 people, and she did not disclose it with the event space that we were in was not rated.
That or they advertised it as being like it can hold X many people, but they didn't mention that was like the bare room and
the room space,
and didn't include like now you put chairs and tables and stuff.
So I'm sure she knew. You're right. We're speculating, but I speculate that she knew that the event space that they use for weddings was also rated for a certain number of people, and that putting
she had to know
tables and booths and all sorts of stuff like that in the space was going to reduce that number. So then what happened was we had the line going out the door for entry just like last year, but then the line got stopped in the middle because the fire marshal got called because there were way too many people in the event space. And guess who called the fire marshal? The owner of the event space.
We believe.
Like, she showed up with the fire marshal. I'm pretty sure
she did. I'm not saying this is like, oh no, we're gonna get sued. It's more just that I think more dirt might come out on this later.
Yeah, agreed.
So I would hate for somebody to listen to that and then come back to us and go, these guys are idiots. Like, no, this is as far as we know. A lot of this is speculation.
This happened just a couple days ago to us. Like, yeah, allegedly, Ty. Anyway, Montana Dirt Roads, going back to your question, am I always the socially awkward one in the group? Dude, I ooze the awkwardity.
Dude, that question was like 20 minutes ago.
I know, but we were in the middle of talking about stuff that was relevant, and now I'm talking, so I figured I'd answer it. Anyway, so yeah, the fire marshal got called. John Patton had to stop people at the door, and he was real apologetic, and he felt bad, and he offered to give people their money back. But eventually, this was about 11:30, and 11:30, the air conditioning was garbage. This place is called the Twist Drill Building. Like, that's not a unpublic comment. So the Twist Drill Building does not have air conditioning. It has this big white tube. Like, it's an old drill manufacturing plant.
Here's the thing, though. Based on how everything else went, I bet you they did have good AC, and
they just didn't turn it on.
Turn it on.
We're not turning on the good AC for them gun people. Because run this flat tube in there.
I think they tried to sabotage the event. That's too many contrivances that suddenly I think too, part of the deal with GunCon being there is that it was a private venue that would allow people to concealed carry when they showed up. I think it was a honeypot. I think they tried to. I think somebody got up their britches that they were going to lure a big gun convention full of a bunch of NRA fuds to their venue. They canceled. So the Attorney General of Missouri was supposed to give a talk on censorship on social media versus guns. Well, guess what happens to him? At like 12:30 in the morning before the event, she threatens to have him trespassed off the building or off the premises if he shows up. And then they did have two other Legally Armed America and Johnny B were trespassed off of the premises.
Yep.
So fucking irony of ironies, you show up to talk about censorship and you get canceled.
Yep.
I think somebody was trying to tank it from the start.
And I honestly think that was all part of the plan to tank it, was to try to get them riled up that they got canceled. But instead, everybody just was like, oh, that sucks. All right, well, I guess like Johnny B and Legally Armed America were like, oh, that sucks. All right, bye, and left. Like, they were asked to.
Well, they
were pissed about it, but they left.
Super pissed.
They put their own videos about it, but like what I'm saying is they were hoping for was a confrontation, that we were like, no, we're not going to leave. Well, you're in our space. Now you're all going to leave. Like, that's what they were hoping for, but it didn't happen. And that's why the fire marshal was called.
Maybe so.
Like, we were set up to fail from multiple angles. I'm positive of that. And then you throw in, like, the actual convention isn't really all that interesting. Like, yeah, we got to hang out with Bob from Gideon. We got to talk to Kenji a bunch from AIM Surplus and see a bunch of friends and hang out with people and talk and like maybe make a few new connections. That was really, really cool. But it's all the same companies we already talked about at Range Day. We want to talk about the drama.
I hid with High Point the whole time.
Yeah. High Point
Like,
and
early-
Gideon were right next to each other, and they were right next to each other last year too. And I'm pretty sure this is on purpose.
And they had extra chairs.
Yes, and that's also on purpose.
So I went over to Bob before everyone else showed up and said, I'm going to come back here and hide. And Dave was there too. I'm going to come back here and hide when everyone shows up. All right. He's like, all right, that's fine. It was hotter than balls in there.
Yeah, dude. It was toasty.
So Missouri. All right. Here. All right. Put your tinfoil hats on, kids. Even though I don't think it needs one.
So let me tell it from my perspective, and then you can tell it from your perspective, because I found the entire thing quite amusing from my perspective, how it happened.
Okay.
And I know you did too. So from your perspective,
I did not think it was. I'll preface it. I was not amused at first.
I was amused, but on alert. Let's go that way. So it's about. Let's start this with the Missouri. Jesus, the Attorney General was supposed to speak at about 3:00. They were supposed to do a fireside chat with Johnny B. And I think also Legally Armed America, but I could just be making that part up. Anyway, so around 3:00, we're all sitting at Gideon and High Point and hanging out and shooting the shit and just overall being hot. And this person walks by, and this person was of.
They were not
for the sake of just making it easy and not being super insulting. This person was
across
This person was genderically not clear, unidentified. We genuinely couldn't tell if it was male or female. So
the word you want is androgynous.
Yes, thank you. They were androgynous. Long hair, long curly hair, very, very twitchy, like always looking around and like almost like Tweak, dude, from South Park.
I don't have a word for that. Sorry.
Tweak from South Park. They got into line. There was a panel going on stage, and Sean Heron from We Like Shooting was on stage. The panel was doing panel things. There was a line of people right in front of us to ask questions of the panel, but because of the way the acoustics were in that event center, the acoustics were absolute trash. You couldn't hear anything, even though we were literally right next to the stage. You couldn't hear anything in the back of the room either. People in the audience probably couldn't hear shit. But anyway, I digest. So this person gets in line.
You
very
digest?
nervously.
Nah,
Yes. It's a Family Guy reference. So
please stop digesting on this.
So I see this person like twitching, hands are like going into backpack. The person's wearing an Anarchy t-shirt with a bunch of wording underneath it, and I don't know what the wording said because the
I don't know what that means, but
wording.
I love it.
They were wearing a purse at the front, like an actual purse. They were wearing their keys on the purse and Camelback on the back, and then a backpack over the Camelback that was made of like leather or something. And this person kept getting in the line, reaching into the backpack and like being weird, and then getting out the line, and then went over and really, really awkwardly held a handgun from Gideon. And at that point, I pulled out my phone and I saw a text from Sean that said, "Hey, keep an eye on that weirdo right there." And I was like, oh shit. And then I already was. And then I look up and Jeremy from We Like Shooting is standing 20 feet behind this person. Sam is off to the side covering from a different angle. And I'm like, all right, I got this angle. And the whole time I'm like, I know Jeremy wants to get his stateside so bad right now. And that from that text, Sam, is where I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so I noticed this person walk in when they came in the front door. And what I noticed is it's clearly a dude. And they're wearing a shirt that says, I can't read, it's a whole smorgasbord of like a phrase or a quote, but just right here, right next to the left shoulder, it just says anarchy. It's like, all right, well, leftists can own guns too. Whatever. Saw him for a glimpse. I think I was moving on to something else. Well, I'm sitting back there behind behind High Point now, hiding for everyone else. Jeremy over there, he's hanging out. We Like Shooting. We're bullshitting with that Angelo guy we met earlier.
Yeah, Angelo.
And then I
Tony's
looked over.
friend.
I noticed this individual's in line to ask a question. I went and hit Mike and said, "Hey, look, there's a leftist over there. They got a anarchy T-shirt." And then I'm looking at him, and I noticed the main thing I noticed is their head was doing this very like weird, minute bobbing, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And it wasn't just up and down either. Like it would go side to side sometimes too. It was weird.
It's my turn, sir. I was quiet for your turn. Minus the digest part. Anyway, so okay, well, I'm thinking that's really weird. I just pointed out to Mike, and this is the point where I looked at my phone and saw as the message came in from Sean to look at this person. And I look at Jeremy, and we both look at that person, and then Jeremy stands up, and it wasn't 20 feet. He was 4 feet behind this person.
Was it that close?
Like,
I mean, maybe it was 20 feet from me.
Maybe from your angle, but from me, because I got up too and stood like we're almost flanking them. They don't know we're there though. And Jeremy,
be funny. Hold up.
What?
Hold up. It'll be funny. That person reaches into that bag, pulls out a tape measure.
Because this was the Jeremy that you'd get a sticker for measuring.
Yep.
Which nobody did, by the way, which is fine. I gave out stickers anyway. Anyway, Jeremy unbuttons his shirt and
That's why they're
shifts
so nervous.
because he was he was wearing it. He was carrying outside the waistband. Shifts his holster up, still under the shirt, to where it's right fucking there. And he's standing in a position where he could draw and just dome, just if he really needed to. I'm thinking, well, and I told him afterward, I wasn't there to steal his thunder. I was just there to give him a high five afterward.
I just thought it was funny how when you were in on the situation and you could see how many people were in on the situation, like how many people were ready to control it if need be. Like, why doesn't that happen at these church shootings? I mean, it did just recently, but like that one in Texas that Big Dick Jack Wilson stopped, like the two other church security guys that got murked, neither
because
one of them.
There weren't that many people in on it.
No,
like 99% of the people there didn't notice a damn thing.
That's what I'm saying. The people that did notice acted, and like it just happened. We didn't have to talk and plan. We just figured it out,
but
and it was pretty amazing.
It would be different if he had just wandered in and started shooting, though.
Right.
We had there was time because they were there. They got out of line and wandered away. At which point they wandered away towards the room full of cops who are, off-duty security guard cops. So we're just like, well, it's not our fucking problem anymore. We're not here to pull security. So we just sat back down, and then they wandered back up and got in line again.
Yep.
And they were looking for somebody.
Like the head movement clearly searching.
It's my turn, sir.
Oh, my bad.
And then they got back out of line again, and they would walk past the Gideon booth and the High Point booth, looking at things like somebody who is trying to blend in and doing a shit job of it because their eyes were freaking glazed over. They weren't looking at the booth or looking at High Point going, holy shit, that's fucking cool, Dave. Look at this. They were looking at their eyes were passing past objects and not seeing them. And then they wandered away towards where if you went around the corner from us, the NRA and GOA booths, like the political activist type ones, were down over there. And then they came back out and they never got back in line again, but they hung around until the event ended. And here's where the tinfoil comes on, but I'm not even sure you need it.
No, I think I'm already there.
99% chance they were there because they bumped. So when they removed the attorney general, they bumped the elite panel, which our buddy Sean was on, up to the 3:00 slot. They were looking for the attorney general to cause a scene. There's an outside chance they were looking for the attorney general to try and pull a gun out and kill him. But I would more likely they were looking for a scene. They were playing with the purse up front, either out of nerves. Maybe they had a freaking can of red paint to throw at them because that seems to be an MO right now. But that's the closest I have come in a very long time to thinking somebody might have to die pretty soon.
Uh-huh.
Because if they had pulled a gun out of that bag, they were going to That's the fun part. If they had walked up thinking I'm going to pull a gun out and shoot somebody, they would have made it halfway through that draw stroke before they got domed.
Yeah, that's what I found amusing, was the perfect response to it. And even more amusing, actually, I found that we had literally just talked about this kind of shit that morning, how people who are trying to fit in don't. And when you're that nervous, when you're that when you're that nervous, you can't hold still, you're twitching, you're doing exactly like that person was. And here comes someone exactly matching the description of somebody we were just talking about. And like, holy shit, I also thought we were legit about to see someone die.
So that's the story of how the Firearms Radio Network saved the life of the Missouri Attorney General.
True facts. Look,
and I refuse to see it any other way.
In an alternate timeline that isn't really that much different from this one, I think that actually might have been a headline.
All I'm saying is they had a very easy to remember face. So in a month from now, it turns out something happens. It'll be like, I fucking told you.
Yeah. Dude, you know what this person reminded me so much of was the guy who shot and killed Trump, or shot at Trump. He shot and killed Trump in a different timeline.
Holy shit, there's a double?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, the what was that? Matthew Brooks kid or something like that?
No, what I'm saying is that Trump actually was shot and killed, and it's just been a doppelganger the whole time.
How did they find somebody else to talk like that?
Cloning.
No, not the rise of
this
Skywalker.
Is getting worse. This is getting stopped.
Montana Dirt Roads, there's no picture of this person.
There will be in a month.
It was just like one of those things where there they are, and sure enough, somebody put a picture of me on the it's the We Like Shooting Discord, but we've got a little sub thread on it of me kind of looking grumpy as fuck, staring off. It's because that picture was taken directly after this individual had left the line, and Jeremy and I are standing there watching him. While it is my usual face, it was slightly grumpier because it was just like,
you were
kidding me.
You got that RBF, huh?
Resting bastard face, sure.
Bitch face.
All I can think of that I could have added was
balls face. Like his face is meant for resting balls on.
Wander straight up and just take a picture of this person like 2 feet away, like click.
Yep.
Yeah. Nick Dooley from the AR-15 podcast mentioned that when he saw him picking up guns and kind of weirdly handling them, that he was going to go offer, like, let me show you how to do that right. But he had to go do a podcast, which would have been fun to see big old Nick Dooley with this scrawny toothpick figure being like, oh, this is how you really do it.
Seeing big old Nick Dooley angry that this all happened while he was recording his podcast was hilarious. This happened while I was like, God damn it.
Turns out it was just an elaborate scheme to get Jeremy a stateside.
That's all GunCon 2025 was.
So anyway, thus ended GunCon. We helped pack up and went and ate dinner with a bunch of the FRN type crew and a couple of listeners, and
we had pretty good steaks at a steak joint near Jeremy's range. It was a good time.
I'm glad that we ran out of room at that table because I skidded over to the other table, because then it was like, I don't know what Mike's going to do back there when he's inebriated, but now I can't help him.
I do not care. I don't know what Let's Go Hunt is.
Never heard of it. And we flew back, and that was GunCon. I was talking to Nick from We Like Shooting in the bar before the flight out. He's like, this is your first type of this type of deal, wasn't it? Montana Dirt Roads, anybody can go to GunCon is open to the public. Also, the main event
shotgun shoot
Saturday is the range day and all the other stuff that happened before is sponsors and creators.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nick was telling me, he's like, Nick was telling me that this is probably the the worst event he's been to, just in terms of the heat and the drama, and how, there were some hiccups that, were also very well smoothed out.
Mm-hmm.
But normally, like, those kind of weird hiccups and stuff don't happen. So
the food trucks were pretty good. I heard great things about all the food trucks, including the taco truck. We picked the burger truck because we were already there, even though the taco truck would have been faster, but it was good.
Well, apparently the burgers didn't taste like anything, so I was glad I got the barbecue instead.
I mean, oh, no. It's a burger. It tastes like a burger.
No, apparently they didn't have any seasoning in them.
Okay, Mr. Ketchup over here.
The only event I went to got like stormed out halfway through, and then like everybody got stuck in the parking lot because the parking lot was just a field.
I will say range day went far better than last year. The rain held off. It dumped a little bit while we were stuffing things, but then it let up and we got to keep shooting.
Vince, we are going to GunCon this year. Next year.
Like I said, we're going to form a voting block on the feedback email, which is going to lobby for South Dakota, because AR-15 podcast already has the event center lined up they can use. It's got a major airport to get to in Rapid City. It's an easy drive for me. It'd be great. And it's South Dakota.
Rapid City.
Hey, where did you guys?
Is there a range nearby?
It's South Dakota. All of South Dakota's a range.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
no, it's got a range to do the range day at. It'd be perfect. But anyway,
yeah, that sounds nice.
That has been an hour and 41 minutes about GunCon.
I am curious, before we move on from GunCon and listen to Vince's fishing stories. You guys in the chat, and there's just so many signal groups going on now that I'm like, I can't keep track of everything. Like, obviously, I can't keep track of what was what at GunCon. So there was a leave a review place. Like, you guys were leaving shit reviews for the Twist Drill building. Was that on their website or on Google?
No, that was their Google feedback.
It was Google, but
they
bought them out.
Yeah, they got review bombed, which is what I think they thought they were dealing with the NRA type FUDs, who would just be like, I'm going to send an angry letter, versus the internet gun people who then decided to bully Twist Drill and leave not only like 110 bad reviews in the course of 12 hours, but also went through their Instagram and left multiple comments on every post, and their Facebook and multiple comments on every post. And I'm sure anything tangentially related to Twist Drill Building or the company that owns it is probably looking at all their social media right now doing a scrub fest.
So I have been meaning to do that, and that cracks the hell out of me, because as you were saying this, I typed in Twist Drill, and the very first one to pop up, Twist Drill Cleveland reviews.
Yep. Did that too.
Nice.
Oh man.
Well, anyway, while these guys look around at that stuff, I did not get to go to GunCon. I was pretty upset about that, but that left an opportunity open, because we've been planning another fishing trip down on Lake Texoma with the guide we've been going with the last couple of years. But this time we took my daughter and my niece. So it's my dad, my brother, myself, and the two girls.
Oh,
because they're
real quick. Are you and your brother twins?
No,
because you look fucking identical.
We get that sometimes.
Yeah.
We used to get that when we were little, like little, and he was a head taller than me. And sometimes people are just not smart.
Yep. My mom was in labor for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're 21 months apart. Yeah. His birthday is September 11th. Anyway.
Oof. I just got that. Big oof.
Yeah.
He didn't crash him.
Might as well. Anyway, but this time we got to take the girls out. I mean, so we got up at 4 a.m. on my end and got on the road about 4:45 to get down there in time because we were going to try and get started right at sunup just so that we could be on the lake whenever the bite started. Because Wade does it, he goes out and he'll bait a couple holes a couple days in advance to bring the fish in, and then we'll go out there and toss some cattle cubes in the water and bring them in and see how they bite. And so we got up pretty early, and I was getting kind of worried because I get on the road and I remember my daughter's the one who gets car sick, and this child has never been on a boat before.
Oh.
And I'm like, huh.
Uh-oh.
And then she gets car sick on the way there, throws up in the little trash can. I'm like, that's not a good sign. But I got some food in her. We got there, and she did not get car sick, or she did not get seasick at all while we were out there on the boat. He's got I don't know how big the boat is, like 20-foot V-bottom boat out there. But so we get there about 6:30. We get everyone ready. We hop on the boat. We're out at the first spot by about 6:40 maybe, because it's not far. We launched out of Big Mineral Marina, which is on the Big Mineral arm of the lake, which actually sticks down into Texas. And we get at the very end, we were basically out where the Big Mineral arm of the lake meets the main body of the lake, which has the river channel through it. But we get out there to the first one, and we're in about 30 feet of water. We're using a punch bait that's mostly I heard while my dad was talking to our guide Rodney, made of pig brain, cheese, and fish parts. And they actually use cotton as the binding agent, so there's something for the treble hook to hook onto in there. So you drag that through the punch bait and drop it down there for him to go after. But all you do is you're sitting there in the boat, and he's got his little GPS motor that holds us in one spot. In the exact spot you want to be in, and you just sit there and you drop the weight all the way to the bottom, and then you reel up 1.5 to 2 times, and you sit there and wait. And the fish started hitting immediately, and they kept hitting for a while at that first spot. And luckily, because the last time we were out there fishing for catfish, they had this really soft bite, and they would barely barely grab onto that punch bait and just slip it right off the hook. They were not being aggressive, and we were not having a whole lot of luck. I think we maybe caught 20 fish that time. But they were hitting these. This time, they were hitting them hard. And so the girls weren't having to try to get a fish on. Like at least several times, and both these girls are 7 years old. So, and they're not real aggressive or anything. So they're not sitting there trying to set the hook on anything. So having a fish they'll just grab and like just start reeling, and so they don't have to really think about anything except for the little mechanics of actually reeling the fish in is really useful for getting the girls interested in it. And actually this was my daughter caught her first fish out there in about 5 minutes after we stopped. I mean, just right off the bat, we started catching them. And that hole slowed down a little bit after about an hour and a half. And guide was like, let's move on to the second one. Got over there, about the same thing. They started hitting real hard, and it tapered off after a while, but spent about an hour over there. And he's like, let's go to another one. And and we only hit 3 holes the whole morning. We weren't moving around a lot. We were just getting a nice steady bite, and it would die off after a while. And then on the last one, we actually sat there probably the longest because it would ebb and flow. Because when we on that third hole we were sitting at, then they started hitting just real soft, and you had to really pay attention to like the tiniest, most minute movement in your pole and try and set that hook just in time. We ended up limiting out by about 9:20 in the morning.
Jesus.
Damn.
And I didn't even know there was a limit. That's how much I knew about it prior to this. But apparently it's a 15 fish per person per day, only 2 of which may be over 30 inches.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can catch as many as you want, but you can only keep that many.
Yeah.
There used to be like a size minimum, but they did away with that and then switched it to the size maximum with the limit on that. So because those bigger fish are actually the ones who spawn. And turns out while we were out there, he's like, yeah, the bigger fish are actually still up spawning right now. So where we were fishing, we didn't have a whole lot of big fish, but they're all like perfect eating size. I think the smallest we ended up keeping was about maybe between a pound and a pound and a half, which is still a good size little fillet. And a couple were up in the about 5 to 6 pound range. Actually, a number were between 3 and 4 pounds. Like a lot were right in there. So it was a great eating size fish. I would have liked to get something bigger just for, like the pictures and be real cool.
Yeah.
I think the biggest fish actually of the day never made it into the boat because the leader broke right when my dad got it up to the surface. I mean, it was a fight or two. It was fighting pretty good, and it was but it was still only maybe a 8 to 9 pound fish. It was not a big fish. So, but we were heading in by 10:30, and then they cleaned up all the fish. I ended up with 2 1-gallon bags of fillets. And I ended up cooking some of that up that night, and it was quite good.
Did you add your, what was it, baking powder, cornstarch that you were missing?
No, I found some cornmeal batter in my freezer.
Yeah.
And so I just did the old cornmeal.
Yeah.
Which is still good. I like that. My brother apparently makes fish tacos with it. He'll get some lemon and slice it real thin and put it in the bottom of a skillet and then get it real hot and cook it on top of the lemon and then pull it out and shred it. Liberally seasoned, but
mention, I might have missed this, but did you mention what kind of fish?
I think I mentioned catfish. I think it's a catfish.
Are they blue cat or channel cat?
We caught a mix of blue and channel, and I found myself really struggling to grasp the actual difference between the two because morphologically, like, they look very similar. And the guide's just like, yeah, the blue ones are the ones that are kind of blue, and the channel ones are the ones that are kind of yellow. Even though, like, you'll have some with like big, wide, flat heads, and the other ones have kind of a V-shaped head and different shaped tails to them. But they're like, yeah, no, that's about it. The channels lose their spots as they get bigger. Yeah, like, okay, I thought I knew what a channel cat looks like. Apparently, I don't. I've only fished for my entire life. But yeah, I think the biggest one I caught was a 5-pound channel cat. Pulled pretty good. Like there was a nice pull to them. It was
good fight.
There was some good fight in them. Even on some of the smaller fish, they had some nice fight to them. A couple of them were pulling out drag pretty good too. But we got the girls, like, pretty much every other fish that I hooked, I handed to my daughter. Like, reel this in. And I think 4 she caught on her pole that she was holding by herself, which she was pretty happy with. And here's the problem. the girls caught way more fish than the boys did in any of the trips we've taken, and now the boys are kind of grumpy about it. And I was like, sorry guys,
Yeah.
But what else? I was talking to him. Usually he'll post pictures of some of the trips he does, and every once in a while he'll have some like real good size catfish that he pulls in. But he said this year the biggest channel he's pulled in is about 9 pounds, and he has not pulled in a 20-pound blue cat yet. But once they stop spawning and they move back out into the main body of the lake, he's like, yeah, we'll probably get some bigger ones later in the season, which should hopefully coincide when we go back with the boys for their turn. So we're going to be going back in August or September.
Okay.
And maybe then we'll get into some bigger ones. Not a whole lot of flathead. Like, we didn't catch any flathead, but he says that they usually catch flathead whenever they're out there fishing for striper with live bait, because flathead catfish like the live shad, and they'll go after those. So, or your hand if you want to walk along the river bank and stick your hand in holes.
Fuck that.
It's an Okie thing.
It'd stick my hand in a nest of snakes.
So
Sam, you'll do it, right?
What, noodle for catfish?
Stick your hand in a mess of snakes?
I thought are we talking about actually noodling for catfish, or are we talking about like actual snakes?
Noodling.
I'd give it a shot.
So the what I heard from a lady who I was training at work one day, we talked about her. She noodles a lot, and what I heard, what she told me is any hole that has access to air can either have a snake or a turtle in it, and neither of those things do you want to go reaching your hand after. So like holes in the side of banks are some of the most dangerous. Like if you have a hole and like 80% of the hole is covered in water, and there's a gap in the top that, if you look in the hole, you can see air in there. Yeah, you don't want to go doing that. But if you're out in the main body of like a wide, flat, sandy bottomed river, and you're digging around in holes there, then you're not going to find any snakes in that or turtles, because the fish are chasing them all off because they're spawning in there. What else? I don't think I had a whole lot more. We limited out and about in less than 4 hours, and we're headed back in. The girls did get bored after a while, but they were not like grumpy and wanting to go back and bored. They ended up playing in the punch bait.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't get in trouble for that, but that's someone else might have.
Don't touch the fucking van.
Yeah, well, after a while they got bored fishing, but they're over there baiting our hooks for us. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
that's fine. Hey, whatever gets you entertained, because we're over there. After about fish number 40, we're starting to count, because we've never gotten that close to limiting out before. Like, so me and my brother and dad were over there like fishing. We're like, we're getting to 75. I don't care. Like, yeah, I think my brother caught most of them. But anyway,
nice.
That is a killer fishing trip, dude. That's awesome.
It was pretty good. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention. We got postponed from May because of how high Lake Texoma was, because of how the historic amount of rain that Oklahoma has gotten over the past 3 months. And I think when we were supposed to be there, the lake crested somewhere about 633 feet above sea level, and the lake at full is 621 feet above sea level. So it was about 12 feet over its banks. The restaurant at the marina had 4 feet of water in it. The private boat dock that we normally launch from could not be accessed because the walkway to it was underwater. You could only get there by boat. And actually there's some fun pictures of where so it's a floating dock, right? So it's got posts driven into the lake bed, and then it's got collars around those posts so the dock can go up and down as the water level rises and falls. Well, it got so high that one of those collars got over the post, and then when the lake level dropped, it lifted that part of the dock up with it.
Yeah.
Just gonna take this with me.
Yeah, so they're waiting on insurance to come out and look at it and get it fixed. So that entire private boat dock is out of commission at the moment.
Jesus.
Yeah. Restaurant still closed. Couldn't get my BLT.
Yay.
They actually moved a lot of the mobile like cabins that they had set up there at the lake that people like rented. You know, it's mobile homes, but it's your cabin by the lake. But
they're mobile.
Yeah, they moved those out as the water rose. So a lot of those weren't destroyed, but they're still just now moving them back in because the water is at its proper level currently because they've just been letting water out constantly. Like I think I read the inflow is 15,000 cubic feet per minute, and they're letting out 35,000 cubic feet per minute.
Good grief.
I mean, it's better than the other option, which is, you know,
it's so dry you go fishing with a shotgun.
Yeah, we went out one time 12 years ago when the lake was just down, and it was sad.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right.
That's all of our lakes all of the time, it feels like.
Don't let all that water out. You're going to need it later.
We keep giving it to California. I can't
Kansas. Yeah. Fucking Kansas. Tied.
Everybody needs corn. And wheat.
Wheat. Why are you saying it like that?
You say wheat like that, and the term poor got thrown around quite a bit over the last days. Yep.
My wife gets so annoyed with me every time someone says hormones. I go, hormones what?
And Ty, what water? The water we give you, fucker.
It's not our fault you waste it. On golf courses.
To be fair, Mineola may be a stretch for the runoff from the old Pikes Peak.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have hit 2 hours.
Yep.
So I think we need to crash this plane into a mountain.
Kobe.
That's a helicopter.
So, close enough. Fixed wing or rotary wing will work. Gideon Optics affiliate code moist.
Then I'd really be scatterbrained.
Camerado affiliate code let's go hunt. 5-star alterations code is also moist. If you want to get an absolute bitchin' wool poncho.
And if you get it right now, you will be very moist while wearing it because it's hot outside.
Yeah.
Gideon has a hell of a sale going on right now, so
I do.
Jump on that.
Yep.
But
just put moist in the comments so they know.
Yeah, that'll do.
Support the sport and take a buddy hunting. If you like that buddy, tell him about our show. If you don't, tell him his mom catches bullhead cats on purpose. Hit us up at lghpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
GunCon 2026.
Yeah, I think it's got to be man bear fish.
Yeah.
Man bear fish.
What about
a new bottom load?
Pig? What about fish parrot? Oh,
not a new type of gay.
Nope. We're done.